Hello and welcome back to Logic Language Learning. So the final video in the white shirt, the final video for today is another video responding to Phil. So again, Phil, thank you for writing in. If you could please comment underneath and tell us that you're happy with the video. For the rest of you, this is a video which is looking at some quite interesting variations on verbs in the past tense, in the passé composé, that use être. If you're not used to why certain verbs use the verb to be in the past, for example, je suis sorti, rather than, j'ai mangé, then I strongly recommend that you learn those differences first, so that you don't complicate things. You're very welcome to watch the video, okay? But I really recommend that you watch that first. So, before we begin, we just need a little bit of a grammar revision. And can I ask you, by the way, as per normal, to click like if you like the video, to feel free to subscribe, and if you do want any private coaching, I've had a lot of requests recently, but can you just email me, allow a couple of days, it's logiclanguagelearning@gmail.com, all lowercase, all attached. So, the être verbs, so as not to confuse you, are what we call the verbs that use être, that's the verb to be, in the middle when we have a tense that has two verbs in it. So for example, an auxiliary verb. So for example, I spoke will have I have spoken, okay? He danced, he has danced, okay? He went, il est allé. It will have the verb to be in the middle, okay? We use auxiliary verbs in English. We don't think we do, but we do. So for example, in French, je parlais will be I was speaking. So this verb was comes to us from the verb to be, and we're going to put it in there to show us which tense we're in. Same with things in the present tense. I am helping you with your French. We're going to use the verb to be, rather than I help. So this isn't a totally foreign concept, and I always think that's useful when we remember that our own language has some interesting ideas that are similar as well, okay? This isn't this complicated. But what we're saying is that these être verbs are the verbs which, when they are on their own, normally, you will use être. And can I make the massive distinction that we are not talking about reflexive verbs when you do something to yourself that automatically use être. Those are verbs where you can switch them for être. For example, let's have a look. So if you said I went, je suis allé, yeah, or in some accents, je suis allé. If you were a girl, by the way, that would have an E on the end. This is an être verb because on its own, with nothing else, I have my three ingredients. I have, or in this case we need to use be, gone. That is the être verb I'm on about. If you said I got washed, yeah, I normally got washed, je me suis lavé. Okay? And we've used the verb to be there, we have used être there, but it's because we've got a reflexive in the past. So I have washed the car would be j'ai lavé la voiture, because I washed the car. I'll come on to transitive as an idea in a minute. So what I'm talking about today is specifically the top group. Some people call them the être verbs of motion, although that annoys me because plenty of things are motion. Jumping is motion, running is motion. It's generally the verbs that we talk about to move ourselves around. So if you don't understand those, go and have a look at the previous video on the être verbs of motion. So we have go up, go down, go out, come back, die, be born, enter, leave, re-enter, come. It's generally verbs about moving yourself around, okay? So those are the ones that we're looking at today. So, all I'm basically saying is that these verbs, normally when you talk about them, you're talking about yourself. Not reflexively, you don't need the me or the te or any of this, you need this être verb. So I went, je suis allé. I left, je suis sorti. I went down, je suis descendu. And they're talking about me moving myself around the place. Now, In a few exceptions, with a few exceptions, these verbs, if you swap the middle verb to have, like our normal verbs, can be used quite successfully with something else. And this is where the transitive idea comes in. So you know me, I don't like to give you too much grammar because it means you think about it when you speak. But it basically means, if I'm doing something to myself, for the moment, I want you to think of it in these terms. If I'm doing something to myself, that's an être verb. I go up, I go down, I go out. You know, it's me that's moving myself around, okay? And I don't need the reflexive. I'm taking out the pen from the bag. I'm putting up the photo on the wall. I'm taking down the shoes to put them downstairs. I'm passing time rather than I'm passing. These are ideas where we're going to use the verbs that we know as être verbs with have. So let's have a look at some specific examples. So I went out. Je suis sorti. Okay, always remember. Now that's a sentence on its own. If you said I went out of something, you always need the de. Je suis sorti de la maison. I went out of the house. Yeah, I exited the house. Okay, now, if I took something out of my bag, then this is transitive. There's another thing. What's being taken out? If I went out, what is going out? Me. If I took a pen out of my bag, what is going out? The pen. It's not me. So when you're doing it with another object, you can put have in the middle. So I went out, je suis sorti, I took out my pen, j'ai sorti mon stylo. From the bag, du sac, ou de mon sac. J'ai sorti, okay? Let's have a look at another one. I went up, je suis monté. And again, like any verb that uses être in the middle with the être verbs, you can add an e if it's feminine, okay? Or an s if it's plural. So if you're a girl saying I went up, je suis monté, there'll be an e on the end. So I put up the photograph. J'ai monté la photo because something else is being put up. Okay? I went upstairs, je suis monté, and I put up the photograph. J'ai monté la photo because it's not an être verb, it's not about yourself. Okay? If I took down, j'ai descendu. Okay, let's say I was eating pizza in my bedroom. Shame on me. Okay, and I took down the plates. I took the plates down. Yeah, in English to divide the compound. J'ai descendu les assiettes. Okay, les assiettes. You've basically got something else going on. Okay, j'ai descendu les assiettes. Let's have another quick look at 3 specific examples with this one. Because this isn't every single être verb to answer your question, Phil. This is just certain verbs, the ones I'm touching. Let's do another plain one first. Retourner is to return. Yeah, or rentrer. Okay? So I went back myself. Rentrer we really try and use for go home. So there's this there are these 3 verbs for return, which always bother people. Which one do I use? Revenir, rentrer, retourner. And this deserves a video of its own, actually. But anything about going home for your base, try and use rentrer. So I'm going to go home. I'm with you now in the middle of London. Je vais rentrer means I'm going to go home. We were on holiday. Let's say we were on holiday in Italy. We're in the middle of the town square, and I say je vais rentrer. That would probably mean I'm going to go back to the hotel where we're considering home at the moment. Or, you know, je vais rentrer à Londres. I'm going to go home to London because that's my base. Okay. You can j'ai rentré quelque chose. You know, or j'ai rendu. We often use as well. But j'ai rentré, j'ai retourné. I have returned something else. Yeah, like a library book. Okay, you're not returning yourself, you're returning the library book. So this is another one, when you're doing it to something else, you can do it quite successfully with the verb have. Okay? Let's look at another example. I passed Je suis passé. Now let's make them il for a change, because we've done everything with I. So he passed, il est passé. So now this is the verb to physically pass. So he passed in front of my shop. Il est passé, it's one of the movement verbs about you in the space. Il est passé devant mon magasin. Il est passé devant. Okay? He passed by earlier. Il est passé à tout à l'heure. Il est passé à tout à l'heure. All to the hour is an expression which means a little bit before or a little bit after. À tout à l'heure. Okay? Il est passé. Now, he spent 3 days with his sister. Il a passé 3 jours. He spent these 3 days. Yeah? He didn't pass anything else. It wasn't himself that passed. He spent these 3 days. So the best thing to remember for this, rather than try and work out the difference, if I can speak English, is if you're using spend for time, you're going to use passer with avoir. If you're using pass physically in front, you're going to use passer with être. And I think that's a pretty easy way of remembering it. Okay? Next one. Okay? Monter and descendre have their own peculiarities, and this often causes problems even for French people. Il est descendu. He went down. That means he went down. Now, if you said he came down the mountain, la montagne, or he came down the stairs, l'escalier, 2 words linked, okay? Strictly, in French, this should be il a descendu l'escalier. Il a descendu l'escalier. Now, you're going to say, whoa, Luke, stop. He came down. It was him that physically moved down the stairs. It was him that physically moved down the mountain. But the sense of the sentence, he didn't take the mountain down, you know, he didn't like take it from up there on the top shelf and put it down there, or he didn't take the stairs and move them into the basement. It was still him that was coming down, but because in your sentence there's an object afterwards, yeah, to come down the stairs, in French, to descend the stairs in French means to go down the stairs as opposed to bring them down. In terms of grammar, it's the same. You've got an object on the end. So, il a descendu l'escalier, il a descendu la montagne is better French than je suis. Well, people argue either way, but for me, is better French than je suis descendu. Okay? Because it has an object afterwards. Okay? Same with he went up. Il a monté l'escalier. Il est monté l'escalier sounds wrong to me. Okay? I think those are the only ones that I can think of right now. There's another one I just want you to be slightly aware of, which is when you use the verb arriver to happen to someone, okay? You're actually curiously using the verb être with that one. So that happened to me, ça m'est arrivé. You're still going to use the verb to be on that one, even though it's happening to me. So that is an exception, and I will talk about that one another time. But as for now, these are the things you need to remember. If you are using these être verbs that you have gotten very used to being careful with adding an extra E or an extra S, if you are using them with an object, they do not need an extra S unless that object has come first. Yeah, so for example, he, let's say, something feminine. The card he took out, la carte qu'il a sorti, there'd be an E on the end of that because the card word came before. But if it were just a normal sentence, he took the card out, il a sorti la carte, normal S-O-R-T-I. Okay? So these are just a few nice ones to have. So to put a photograph on Facebook, yeah, you can post. You know, j'ai mis, I've put. J'ai monté la photo, I put up the photograph. These are just some nice ones to have. I really hope that's useful, Phil. So ideas for you to have in mind is if you can imagine, if there's something else in the sentence that's been dealt with, yeah, if there's another object after the verb, then it will tend to be avoir. I really hope this is useful, Phil. Please let me know if it's been good enough, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Those of you that have enjoyed the video, can you please click like? Can you please subscribe? Please tell your friends about the channel, and I shall hear from you very soon. Take care.